The CMA desktop allows users to customize their experience for video communications. To access your user preferences, near the top of the application, you will click the Menu button. Select Preferences from the menu drop-down. Now we'll walk through the various tabs available to you as a user, beginning with General. In this section, you have general settings that apply to the CMA desktop. Special note are items such as Auto Answer and Mute Auto Answer. These two settings allow you to automatically accept a call and, for security reasons, automatically mute that incoming call. Also important is the ability to show your recent calls in the contact list. By default, Show Recent Calls in Contact List is selected. Moving on to the sign-in process. During our install wizard, you notice that we left our settings to automatic. If you are required or requested to change the IP address of the CMA server, you would do that here by specifying and entering the IP address. For this purpose, we will leave automatic setting. The other important setting here on this tab is the sign-in using network credentials. Because my director has added me to the Active Directory list for CMA Desktop, I am able to use single sign-on, or commonly known as network credentials, to sign into the CMA Desktop. Let's move on to video. This is where you would point the CMA Desktop to a specific or even embedded USB camera. For the purpose of this demonstration, I am using the integrated camera shown here. There may be other camera inputs available to you at any time based on the USB cameras connected to your computer. You are able to send your video to a full screen if you have a second monitor. You are also able to place calls without a camera, so in essence having voice over IP using CMA Desktop. Also listed here is the ability to use DirectX as your hardware accelerator, and new in version 5.0, the ability to send and receive 720p video by checking this checkbox. In the Audio tab, you are able to select your input and your audio output devices, as well as receiving audible alerts when certain situations are satisfied within the CMA Desktop. There is also a very handy diagnostic tool called Test Audio Devices. The Test Audio Devices will tell you whether your microphone is picking up voice or other surrounding sound. There are also two diagnostic buttons used for device audible alerts. Clicking Start will enable those audible test cycles. The Network tab will allow you to throttle the call speed down to something more appropriate based on your bandwidth environment. For instance, if I am at a hotel, at my home, or even a Starbucks, I can choose to take a call at a lower speed than what has been provisioned for me. In the Alerts section, this gives you the customization of audible alerts and visual alerts for things such as when one of your contacts come online, go offline, or even when you're receiving a message. They will give you the ability to have an audible or a visible alert based on those stats. Presence is very typical among instant messaging clients, and this is where you would set the preference for when the system would show an idle state to other users. The other section is the ability to automatically accept an invitation to be added to someone's contact list. By default, this is turned off, but you may want to have that checked so that users aren't prompted with an invite. The Messages tab shows you how to configure settings for instant messaging or chat. You can have the enter button send the message, you can have the time and date stamped with the message, and so on. In the Processor section, the CMA Desktop evaluates the hardware capabilities of your computer and then checks each feature function listed. If the function is capable, you will get a green check mark by that function. By default, at the lower half of the tab, you will see that the processor performance is based on a balanced setting. You can choose to pick the CMA desktop or other applications for the processor to favor those applications. By default, we are set to balanced. You may choose to favor the compute for the CMA desktop based on the hardware capabilities, and I have not seen any degradation in using other applications simultaneously with the desktop client. So I like to leave mine at CMA desktop. Moving to the configurations tab, you will see that these items are read-only, and they're basically for informational purposes, telling you the address of the CMA server in which you're using and your personal IP address, as well as the E164, which is the simplified dial plan for your desktop client. In the diagnostics section, there are three subcategories: call statistics, media statistics, and notification log. The call statistics will give you basic information about the call rates, the times that you have placed calls, how many calls, and how many calls you have received. In media statistics, we will see things like the rate used for video and audio, as well as any packet loss associated with that call. The notification log will give you a list of all calls that have happened on the client and will be very important if you are asked to produce a diagnostic log. By clicking the Collect CMAD Diagnostics button, you are able to collect any errors that might be occurring with your client for troubleshooting purposes.